Hi, folks. It's Parvesh Cheena. I play Manish on Mira, Royal Detective, Bodhi on T.O.T.S, Raj on Craig of the Creek, Zulius on Centaurworld, and, of course, I'm Blades from Transformers Rescue Bots. You're watching In Conversation with Amber the Fangirl, ATF.
Hi guys, welcome back to In Conversation with ATF. My guest today is a voice actor who is known for voicing Blades in Transformers Rescue Bots, Bodhi in Tots, tiny
Tiny
ones
One's Transport
transport
Service.
service. That's it. That's it.
I just say tots.
It's just oh yeah, Bodhi in Tots. Tots what? Tots TV? I don't know. Tibble's Grim Hammer in the Owl House.
Yeah.
Zulius in Centaurworld. Deanie in the Rocketeer. Manish is that in the
Manish. Manish is
Manish?
the Indian
Excuse me.
pronunciation.
Manish
No,
in
please, are you
Mira
kidding?
Royal Detective, and he's also done a lot of live action things as well. He's been Gupta in Outsource, Sunil Odhav in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. He's done a lot of botcons as well, and worked with so many people. And he's a comedian and a very funny one too. My guest is Parvesh Cheena.
Hi, Amber!
Hi. Hi.
Hello, love.
Did I pronounce your name correctly? Is it
You did a great job. I feel like the Brits do it really well.
So is it a soft E or is it a hard E? So you say Parvesh or Parvish?
Parvesh. That's the trick here. It's the A. We got an A sound in there. And it's just such a. Maybe I'm saying it wrong all these years.
My guess is
Can you
Parvesh
imagine?
Cheena. There we go.
Can you imagine if someone was like, one relative was like, actually, it's supposed to be Parvush.
Parvish.
No. Can you imagine? Like, I do think about that because, like, some friends, right? Because, like, some relatives in India say it a little bit differently, but I just go off of what my mom and my nanny say.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. That's it. But I do say I go by Parv a lot too.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Like, especially in like Zooms. Like, see, quick handy dandy rename makes me Parv Cheena, and I forgot my pronoun, so please forgive me there. He, him, his, and we've got to rename Parv Cheena. He, him, his.
All right, hold on. Let me do mine.
Yeah, I'm always trying to remember to do it, and I feel like there's a setting that we can do it, but I always forget how.
Yeah. Well, my pronouns are she, her,
There you
hers.
go.
She, her, her,
there we go.
she's.
Now we're all met.
Oh no!
Someone said to me, and someone said to me once about like inclusivity and everything, like do pronouns. I'm like, yeah, it's no big deal. We used to introduce each other as, and I think Amber, you might understand, like, hello, I am Amber of House of Windsor, third in my line. You know, like we used to like talk to people. Hello, I am John, son of James. I come from this. And so when people are like have such an issue with like, what are your pronouns? Oh, too much. Don't ask. That's too much. Stop it. If you can call someone the Rock, you can learn someone's pronoun.
Yeah, I should have.
I'm sorry to go on that tangent, but I do think about that a lot. Like,
That's fine.
we used to introduce ourselves a lot more than just Parvesh Cheena. My pronouns are he, him, his.
Yeah.
You know?
I should change mine to she. No, hang on. Her, hers, she. Hershey? What you mean, like the chocolate bar Hershey? That's yeah. You know what? I'm like, I want to do that from now on. If I put my pronouns down here, I just want to go her, she.
Yeah, that's it. Simple. I mean, like it's such a thing too, because I see sometimes people capitalize like the H or the S or the T and they, and other times it's lowercase. I just love the fact that we're all like doing it and just trying to make it more inclusive for others. And I love that, especially in animation. Like this art form, this medium is open for everyone. You know, I love that. And especially think of like even like for us actors of different ethnic backgrounds and colors, we're getting to play things that we would never play on camera. And it's just really nice. Like, and not to mention, it's not just like one or two, it's not just a few older white guys. We're voicing everybody, you know, like now we're getting a lot of diversity on camera. And as you happily read my credits, which made me feel very shy and proud, it was just like it is like I realized like when you were listening to them, I'm like, I've been very grateful to play like robots to zebra centaurs to other Indian people just like me.
I think I could be wrong. Is Bodhi, is he like a pelican or something?
A stork.
Stork! Ah!
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. He's a big, but he's big, so that's why, because he's such a big dude. He's like my biggest character. I played. Next one, actually, Blades. I think Blades and Bodhi, they look about the same size, big.
Yeah.
And it's fun to me to play these like shy, nervousy guys. I think it's really fun.
I agree, definitely. So, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. I know we're in the pandemic and everything.
Yeah, there is that, but apart from that.
But apart from that, honestly, I'm really happy. We voiceover actors, or all actors who also do voice, we're just very grateful that we've been able to continue and keep recording and keep working from home. I mean, speaking of like T.O.T.S and Centaurworld, I remember like my last few episodes, or maybe I think maybe just like my last episode of Centaurworld was done at home. And then like the bulk of T.O.T.S was done at home. So it's been really, and then some things you'll go in, but you'll literally go in and it'll just be like a video screen like this. And the writer, director, everyone is on Zoom. And the only person that you might physically see is the sound engineer, but he's behind the glass screen and everything. So I've literally walked into, like, come off into the office, no one's there. And you just know, like, you go to your studio room, and the engineer's there, and he's already adjusted your mic, and you have your music stand. So think of that. That way too has been very safe and a very nice way for all of us voiceover actors to keep working these past few years.
I see. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I don't have that experience because I'm not a professional voiceover actress. I've only had the one job. You can't really see it here, but it's a coin-operated helicopter ride. The things you get outside of Walmart and did that. It's meant to, hundreds were meant to get made, shipped out worldwide. Company went bust because of COVID. And one model was made. That's it. So
that's.
Yeah, back to the drawing board. But it was fun. I got to go see the finished product in London. It was at this exhibition show just before the pandemic hit, so it was very nice just to be out
early
there.
2020.
Yeah. I just want to go back to there because I was on cloud nine. Honestly, that was just so cool. Honestly.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'd like to start off by asking, how did you get into voice acting?
It's very easy because I was just texting with Nicole Dubuque, my friend who is one of the head writers from Rescue Bots.
And she's just been announced for TF Nation in England.
I don't know what people know of what. So, like how there's always this thing of like when you're texting with friends, like, is this public? They're like, no. And then other friends are like, we're not going to tell you, Parvesh, because you talk too much. But I was texting with Nicole, and it was just so funny because I remember Brian Holfeld, her husband,
who's also been announced for TF Nation.
Right? Brian and Nicole, and then Jeff Klein. Jeff Klein was like one of the main producers behind Rescue Bots. I think they were, I know Jeff was a fan of Outsource. So Outsource was already airing way back in like 2010. This is 2010, 2011. And then Brian is like best friends, grew up with Ken Kwapis, who's this TV and film director. And he did like the pilots. The pilots are the very first episode. They kind of set the tone for any TV show. So any first episode of any show, animation or on camera, is called a pilot. And Ken Kwapis is famous for directing like the Bernie Mac pilot, The Office pilot, Larry Sanders, a show with Gary Shandling. So he's known as kind of like the pilot maker.
Yeah.
Ken and Brian grew up together, best friends. Brian was in Ken's first film, Follow That Bird, the first Sesame Street Big Bird movie. So it's just like they're friends. And so Ken kind of gave me my big on-camera break with Outsource. And it's just amazing to me that his best friend Brian with Nicole and Jeff gave me my first big break in voiceover. So that was it. Like anything, like I'd audition for a commercial or a TV show or anything. Like they're like, oh, Parvesh, you have to audition for this. There's a new Transformers cartoon coming. I'm like, of course, great. And I got it. And I just remember we had a big table read, and everyone was there again, from like Maurice LaMarche to Lacey Chabert, LeVar Burton. So like, the 8-year-old me is like, oh my God, there's There's LeVar. There's Reading Rainbow. And we read everything, and we just became a family, and we ran for 4 years. But that was my first big break. It was a little bit of friends of friends, and then of the friend. And I know Brian asked Ken, "What's Parvesh like?" And Ken was like, "He's great. Hire him." And so I was very fortunate. One little cap to that is a couple of years later. I want to say maybe like 2013, 2014. I met Ken and Brian. Brian was visiting New York. Ken was visiting New York. I was visiting New York, and we were all there. And they were going to have like a catch-up dinner, but they said, "Parv, come for like a drink." And then they literally like sent me on my way to like, "Okay, now we're going to eat. Bye, dinner's here. Go." And I'm like, "That's perfect." I came just to say hi. And I remember sitting there thinking like, "Oh, you two friends are one's responsible for my big break on camera into TV, and one's responsible for my big voiceover break." And then I left them, and I went and got a lottery ticket for this. There was this like new show at that time called Hamilton. So I got to see it. I got a last minute $25 ticket and got to see the original cast because Brian and Ken kicked me out of dinner. And I was like, "Oh, it's okay. I ended up seeing Hamilton. Bye."
That must have been fun though.
It was amazing. Do you see, like, that's a good night to remember?
Yeah.
A quick night with like two of your working friends who gave you your breaks, and then you go see the show. That I remember like telling friends like, "You guys have to see this show. It's about the American Revolution, and it's with like all people of color." And they're like, "What? Wait, what?"
Anthony
what?
Ramos. Ramos
Yes.
was in it. He's in the new Transformers film, Rise of the Beasts.
Oh yeah, I think so.
It's all a big circle.
I got to see it with Brian Darcy James, who played King George before Jonathan Groff took over on Broadway. So that was very cool too. Like Brian, he's a big musical theater guy too.
I see. Wow. Yeah. Well, with Rescue Bots, obviously you got a stellar cast. You've got Steve Bloom, DC Douglas, Amari Williams. It's his big break too. Rescue Bots.
Amari, Shannon, McCain, and me. It was the three of us, and Shannon played Amari's, Boulder's driver. And we just, the three of us, and then the three of us, since we were new, Amari, Shannon, and I, like we'd record and we'd be like, "Do you guys want to go to dinner? Let's go to lunch. You want to grab some burgers, veggie burgers for you, Parv. But you guys want to go get burgers? Let's grab some bites." And so we did that. And then like Steve, Maurice, Lacey, LeVar, they'd be like, like we don't really do this. Like you really record alone, especially in pandemic. Like pandemic, I record alone. But way back, like pre-pandemic, not for every show, but certain shows, like think of it like a radio play, or like a room of like, not just like one person on a mic and everything, but like a room of 8 of us with our own mics and stands, and just all working together and like reacting to each other. And obviously a professional, these guys could have done it, and they do. They don't need other people there for reactions, but these folks, we just would do it. And so we didn't know any different, Amari, Shannon, and I. And then they would be like, "We don't really hang out." And then we're like, "Okay, you come." And they're like, "Okay." And then we just did. So like after every like recording, for years, we would always just hang out and eat. I mean, like we went to Lacey's wedding. We had a huge, I remember like one of for my birthday, it was on a day of a record, and all of us crew writers, we all went for sushi. I mean, like we still have reunions. We have text groups. We have, it's still family. I will still email Steve, Maurice advice all the time, constantly, because they just know and they give it. There's no withholding. There's nothing. Like it's just a really good family. I try to even see. I think Maurice just texted me.
Right now?
No. Just like the last few days, and then Amari too. Right. It's like we just, it's just like the friendship is even now beyond the show.
Yeah. Amari's great. I've interviewed him for my show as well.
Have you?
Yeah, and Ilan Garfius.
Yeah. Yeah, and Ilan was like a kid. He was like a child, and now he's like
early 20s.
7'2". Yeah.
I know.
Is he done with college? Did he finish school yet?
He's been traveling the world. I think he was in New York last time I saw on his Instagram.
See, like Ilan and Diamond, they would
Diamond's
record
a
with
singer
us
now, isn't she?
Diamond's like this pop star, huge but when we saw them, like they were teenagers, they were kids, like they'd have the studio teacher would be there, and their parents were lovely, and so we would see them. Yeah, they might not come with us like all that, they wouldn't hang out with us late, but even the kids would come too, and they were just cool, like they were very lovely. But Amari is great because he's always been dad too, so he knows how to like. He would always like talk to Diamond because Amari has kids, so like he knew how to. Amari's dad.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And you also like Jason Marsden as well.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah. I think that's all
Lacey, Dave. Yeah, those are the big ones. LeVar and Diamond, Lacey, Shannon, Maurice, and Alon were the family, and then the bots were me, DC, Amari, and Steve. And my position was next to Amari, and then Steve was on my right. And so Steve would always make like a fart sound whenever I would end lines sometimes, like total dad joke. Like he would make like that, and I'm like, okay, this is funny. And it just happened, like you just expected. And then Amari was famous because he would like when it was someone else's line, he would always have his script and just be like moving. Oh, I'm done with my line. Oh, Parvesh, it's yours. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I making too much sound?
It must have been a while of a time.
It was really lovely. I think at a couple of times. Whale of a time is a well of a time. It's a whale of
a whale of a well good time. Yeah, actually, right, here's $1 million question. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ask this. Have you met or recorded with Peter Cullen?
No, he wouldn't record with us. I remember this. Like I'm just like a kid, so I'm just like, wait a minute, the voice of Optimus Prime is here. That's his car blocking the entrance. It wasn't blocking the entrance, but he parked a little funny one time. And yeah, he didn't record with us.
Did you meet
I never
him,
really met him. I think I got one photo with him. I think Mars got a photo with him. Yeah, that's it. I didn't record with him. He would come in some like, you know how this is.
I think he was mainly doing Transformers Prime sessions because he did record with all of them.
Sure. Perhaps. I don't know. Because I never met him. Except like I saw him take a photo with Mars one time. He's he seems nice. He's the voice of our childhood, he's Optimus.
Yeah.
But my big one was I will always remember when Mark Hamill. I call him Uncle Mark because Mark played Maurice's brother on Rescue Box, and Mark recorded with us. Mark hung out with us. Mark took photos with us. Mark came back. I think he was on the show at least twice, if not 3 times, 3 episodes. Do you see like what I mean? Like that's how I know. That's the difference to me. It's like Peter didn't record with us. Okay, great, which is fine. And then Mark, every time, like, wait, where's my seat? I remember, sometimes people sit, some people stand.
Yeah.
Or voiceover. So I remember like Mark sat. It was just like that. That's what I remember. But I do remember Peter Cullen had a very nice car. And I remember thinking, like, that's what Optimus
was it a Tesla? Was it a Tesla
no,
by any chance?
No. I think this is like a Bentley or something. Like, I don't know.
That's still a good car.
Is that a good car? Because like, ask me what kind of car I have. I drive a black one. It gets me from point A to point B. But that's all I remember. Like, and he knew, but also the thing is he knew Mars. So they had their photos, but I just remember Mark Hamill. Just, do you know, like, that's a dream when you're like, when you see Luke Skywalker and he just treats you like an equal because you're working too, and he just, I remember
he's just casually there. He's just another human there.
I will always remember that. And because even like this is also before any of the new Star Wars, and he knew of it, so he couldn't tell us. But then he lost weight. He slimmed down a bit, or was getting ready for it, and we're like. And then we all kind of were like, oh, he's going back. Oh, there's like we just thought like, why else? You know what I mean? Like, why else would you like? Yes, he didn't spill. He didn't say anything about it, but it was pretty cool. Yeah, and I love how Mark talks about the voiceover community. The voiceover community. He speaks so well of it. And everyone loves him.
Exactly. I was gonna.
Everyone loves him because he's like literally like I call him like Uncle Mark of the internet. He's literally kind of like this like wizard who appears and like will like someone's tweet or retweet. You know, like doesn't he feel like he's like Santa, just like making appearances on the internet for everyone to make their day?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he was Luke Skywalker starting out in Hollywood and stuff, and now here he is talking fondly of Steve Blum, Frank Welker, Tara Strong. This is like, it's a sort of connection you can't really describe, but you think,
Right.
I like the association here. It's absolutely brilliant, I tell you.
Amber, do you know what's amazing? It's amazing because like I remember Transformers when I was a kid. You know, the very first
the G1 cartoon.
Yeah.
I love it too.
That was 84, 85. That was like when I was like 5, 6, 7.
Wow.
And so it's amazing like how certain like, you know, like certain like, what do we call them? Like genres, fantasy, like, you know, someone might love like the Star Wars universe. Someone's a big Trekkie, you know, like, and I feel like there are a lot of people who love the bots. It's like, it's just such a different thing. Like, and it still keeps coming back. Yeah. Like you said, like all the new shows, all the new stuff, like they're always going to be future versions.
Yeah, and then the adults who grew up with the original first incarnation of the show will show their children that, and then in the future their children could show their children that.
What was your first Transformers cartoon that got you hooked?
I remember growing up and seeing promos for Transformers Armada on a lot of my DVDs, but that show was released in like 2004, so I wouldn't have been born. So. I was born in 2004, so I remember growing up seeing a lot of Bayverse merchandise. This was like when Revenge of the Fallen was out and stuff like that. I don't remember watching any of the Transformers shows, but the one that got all the movies, I never watched them as a kid. I just remember seeing all the merchandise and the adverts for them on the telly and stuff. But the one that got me hooked was the G1 cartoon, because in 2020 I met Frank Welker in person.
So you did meet Frank.
I did in person, just for the fact that he did his first England appearance. So I met him, and I saw people were going on about Megatron and stuff. I'm like, what's this Transformers thing? And I already knew about Transformers because Corey Burton was in it, who's another good voice actor. Have you ever heard of Corey Burton?
No. It also could be like, it could also be like, remember how, you know, people don't forget a face visually. So I'm like, yeah, I have to hear.
Yeah, he does a lot of announcer voices and stuff, and he's done a lot of stuff for Disney. So she was Shockwave in the original Transformers, so obviously, you know, I'd watch a little bit of it. And then I didn't get to meet Peter though, I didn't have time, you know, just the queue was quite long. But I got home and I started watching it, and then boom, the first lockdown hit, and I just binge watched it, and then I got to interview Corey Burton like the second month of lockdown, so that was quite fun.
You had 4 years of shows, 4 seasons. No, they did 3. They did 3 seasons, right? I want to say
no 4
original.
Well, I suppose 4 if you count the Rebirth parts 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, that's funny. And I remember
it's hard. I don't know about like the Headmasters and the other stuff. I don't, you know. I just
did you see the first cartoon, the one where Optimus dies? Yeah,
I haven't seen the movie. I've seen the clip, but I've not seen the whole movie. Yeah.
I watched that movie in the movie theater when I was a kid, and my dad fell asleep. He took me, so I moved like 2 rows in front of him so people wouldn't know, like, oh, you're with that guy. Surprised they all knew, because we were the only brown people in the movie theater. They're like, that's your dad. I'm like, no, my dad's that white guy. No, that's my dad asleep. But it was fun because that's what I remembered too. I remember Radius Prime, and I remember Optimus dying, and I remember my dad being asleep.
How did you feel when Optimus died? Did you feel sad? Did you feel
confused? It was but we were also a little excited because remember then they continued the TV show.
Yeah.
So then before they brought him back and everything, but like I remember being like, even as a child, I'm like, this is a big jump story wise. I'm on board. I really was like on board.
Yeah, well, this was like, the film was apparently written when Series 2 was already still in production, or not even had started production, because there wasn't a lot of Series 2 characters in it, like the aerial bots and the Stunticons and stuff like that. And apparently I found out recently that John Stevenson, who voiced Hoffa, Windcharger, Thundercracker, he was the only regular voice actor to not be in the film. I don't know why.
Oh, wow.
But Thundercracker was in the film, but obviously he didn't speak. But I wanna try and find out. That's my next big mystery. I'm gonna try and get some to help.
What do you think? What if it's like as simple as like he was sick, or like he was like, I was busy shooting an on-camera thing.
It's just that he's the only regular. I don't know. It's just I know
maybe he farted a lot. Maybe he farted too much during the studio during recording, and they're like, "Oh, he's so gassy."
Well, Don Messick is credited.
I don't know this person. I'm just speculating.
It's fine. Well, Don Messick is credited for voicing Gears, even though Gears doesn't even speak in the film. Unless apparently he did speak in a deleted scene. But
I was going to say, like, any efforts or sounds, like Gears.
But I've interviewed a lot of G1 voice actors. I've interviewed Michael Bell, Neil Ross, Susan Blue, who you did the script reading with at BotCon 2014. She's lovely.
Lovely. And Michael's fun.
Michael is great.
He is fun. He's got his opinions.
Yeah, and you're the voice director of Rescue Bots, Ginny McSwain. What was it like working with her?
I love Ginny so much. We call each other our fiance. She gets very jealous of my partner. I love Ginny because she's tough. She was tough. She did not, and I compare every voice director who I work with to her, and they're all, and some are great. Like I work with Colette Sunderman a lot right now with T.O.T.S and another one, but Ginny was fast, and she let you like, because like even voice recording is fast. It's not like we have to wait, change the lights, hair, makeup, right? We're not on camera. It's just the voice. So you can do literally like 5 different versions of the line in 10 seconds before they're like, and then sometimes Ginny would be like, and I bring a weird timing to my line sometimes, and it either works or it just doesn't. And sometimes I'll have a problem with like some line that would be the basic of basic lines for everyone else, but I'm not getting it. And I do appreciate when Ginny would just like finally just give a line read, which is not popular among some actors. Like, you know, especially like even on camera, like, don't tell me how to say it. Let me find it. Let me do it. I'm of a different mindset where I'm like, I did it 3 times. I did the PAR version. I did what I thought was going to have it. And we have a couple in for you guys to choose from. And then Ginny will be like, do it this way. I would do it, and that was it. It was just a great relationship, great way to work, because she'd let me do, and then she'd be like, but I need this as a possible, because you just need to ask a question. Don't add weird stuff to it, Parv. Just ask a question. So I think of that a lot. And then she taught me just basic stuff, like in terms of voice acting, in terms of melody, thinking of it like music, like tone. Like you can't just all do deadpan because you're dancing or you're doing a lot of fun stuff with your eyes. It all has to read on the voice. So stuff like that. And then even just like if you start slow, end quickly. And if you start quickly, then you can end slow. Like just weird things of like opposites. Yeah. So no, I love that woman so much. She, I've even actually said this. She's probably one of, doesn't matter what medium, voiceover, stage, TV, film stuff. She is probably one of the best directors I've ever worked with to get range, human emotion, and the most succinct way to get it out of you. A little faster and give me some more ennui. And either you understand it and you get it and you can give it, and because there's a lot of time. Time has to be, we have to go click, click, clack. Yeah. Yeah. And so I love that woman so much.
That's some very kind words. If she watches this now, I'm sure she'd really appreciate those. And I'm not being sarcastic. So. I've heard really good stories about her. She was a voice actor in the 80s.
Of course. And she is a spitfire. She would say like the turd cannon is coming your way. Like if you're doing something wrong, that's just her phrase. Like, the turd cannon will get you. Like if you didn't deliver, like she would make you like stay. We would joke like stay after class, because there is a mentality like if you're not getting it after 3, 4, 5 times, like there's gonna be a moment where like, okay, just pause. We'll get that line at the end, and you do feel like a little like, I didn't do it. Damn it, coach. And then at the very end, she'll be like, all right, Parv, Bloom, everyone else, we'll see you later. but let's get those few lines. And then you just nail it because you'd had enough time and you're not thinking about it over and over. You know, like Frank Welker. Remember, I couldn't remember his name at the beginning. You brought it up, and now we know. But in that moment, what was I going to do? Keep going, Frank. I remember because like one of our directors was like another Frank. So like it comes later.
Known. I'm a huge Frank Welker fangirl.
Yeah, but do you see like how it was just that interesting thing of like she just knew like you're flustered. You're too much in your head right now. Pause. We'll get it at the end. So just a very great. She wanted all of us to do well, and especially for like Amari Shannon. I bring up Amari Shannon and me because we were new to it. You know, we were new to specifically voice acting when you had all these pros who had all these shows who'd been Lacey and Jason have been doing it since they were 4. Like we learned a lot from Ginny, and I'm always grateful. And Ginny, Brian, and Nicole are all friends too. So you see how like it's not no one. Obviously, we all went here for work.
It's a big friendship circle.
I hope that's not coming across as inauthentic.
No,
because, you know, like when you say this, but like it really was. We just had all those memories. I just knew like after a voiceover recording for Rescue Bots, it was also social time. Like I would build in like they'd hire you for about like 4 hours. Generally, it's like the get like 10 to 2. 2 to 6 kind of. I would just block out the whole day. I would be like 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. because I don't know where we're going to eat afterwards.
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking at my Twitter. Basically, you know who Rob Paulsen is? Well, of course, everybody knows who Rob Paulsen is.
Yeah. We did Rob's one of our last.
Oh yeah, the Talking Tunes.
Yeah, at like a bar restaurant up here in Burbank, California, nearby, like where a lot of Disney studios.
I think Raymond went to that. You know, Raymond from Amsterdam was I was talking
about. I bet. Because I remember like Ginny was in the audience and she was like heckling us. And who else was in there? Oh my gosh. Now even I'm doing a quick IMDb. Who is the great Disney Rocketeer?
Charlie Adler?
Yes! Charlie and Ginny.
That was a simple guess. You
totally got it
because I remember I looked at the credits for the episode of Rocketeer you were in, and I was like, looking. Yeah. I was like,
Charlie
Adler. I was like, is it Charlie Adler?
So Charlie's
he was Silverbolt in the G1 series.
He's great. He's a nut. He's a nut, a lovable nut. And he and Ginny were they were heckling us. When we were doing Rob's podcast. I do remember that. Like they were yelling from the audience, but it's Ginny and Charlie. See, do you see how they all know each other? Mm-hmm. And because Ginny directed Rocketeer also for Nicole. So Charlie was there too. And I love Charlie. Charlie is so nutty. He's so funny. He's so politically active. And I really appreciate it.
Well, basically, what happened was, well, you know who Meatloaf is, who we recently lost.
He's passed away.
His character in Fight Club is called Robert Paulsen. So when I woke up this morning, I saw R.I.P. Robert Paulsen. I was like, has Rob Paulsen died? I started getting so flustered. I was like, oh my god, such and such, Rob Paulsen's died. I'm like, and then it says that was Meatloaf. I'm like, oh. Well, that's even sadder because my parents grew up listening to his music, and
of course, Rocky Horror. Have you seen Rocky Horror Picture Show?
I haven't, but I've seen little bits of it. I know Tim Curry's in it, Richard O'Brien, and my friends met Tim Curry.
And Tim was,
I love Tim Curry
on our show too.
Oh yeah, he was. And then I think it was Johnny Rees who had to replace him because Tim
did. I think because exactly. Good.
Tim had a stroke.
Research.
He couldn't voice act anymore.
Correct. But we
did you meet him?
Tim, no. Tim didn't record with us.
Can you imagine if Tim and Peter recorded together?
I understand like how some actors might feel like it's a time thing. Like I get it. Like how sometimes when you're just recording alone, you could be in and out in like 15 minutes, half hour. Yeah. But even to be fair though, even by the end of our recording, Ginny did divvy us up. Because we were just messing around too much. Like we were chatting and telling jokes a bit. So she would divide us up. Sometimes she would do humans and then Autobots Like they would go in first, and then we would just wait. We would literally just wait in the lobby for what other group had still to go, and then we'd go to dinner.
I see.
And so we're like, that's fine, Ginny. We understand. Yeah, we're chitty chatty. We're poking each other. We're like laughing during recordings, and it is slowing you down.
Yeah.
So to be fair, then we're like, okay. And then we just waited in the lobby, and then we all still would hang out. Like Brian and Nicole and Ginny would come too. Like, but it wouldn't be everyone all the time. If someone's like, oh, my kid's sick, or I have a big audition tomorrow that I have to rehearse, we'd be like, bye, see you next week. It was just such a expected thing after a while. Like we were just like, oh yeah, oh okay, next week then. We'll see you next. Like we'll see you at the next hangout.
I see. That sounds fun. I've just noticed it is 1:45. So right, okay,
I got a few more minutes.
Oh,
They texted.
Okay.
Yeah, because like it's also you know how don't I do. You know, we got to make lemonade out of like the lemons of this pandemic that have been dealt to us. I do like that. Like a next meeting just means 1 minute leave of this into another.
Yeah, but I wanted to just give you a little bit of time beforehand, but it's okay because I was thinking of doing a part 2 with you at some other point, because I know we've just talked about rescue bots and stuff, but we've got the rest of your career and all the BotCon stuff to dig into.
Amber, let's happily talk again, because but it's so much to talk about rescue bots, because that was a long running show, 4 years.
4 years, and it actually surpassed G1 as the longest running show episode wise.
I remember like some fans getting a little like some people celebrated it, and some people were a little like, oh,
G1.
Oh, look at you, fancy cats. And we're like, well, what are we gonna do? We gotta work.
At least we got Peter Cullen back.
And we were and also like it made another generation of fans for the kids, you know. And I am so proud of it because it entertained so many folks. And there was a great description, I think, that Brian or Nicole had done about it. Maybe it was Jeff too, about it's action without a lot of violence and evil. Like, did you notice like how a lot of like the things would be like, oh, one of our robots is not working. Oh, the weather. Oh, there's a huge. You know.
Yeah.
Someone put a bad.
We've got to deliver this cake in time to the party.
Or like I'd be like, traffic. Oh no, there's an avalanche. Like, I loved it though because like we didn't have any Decepticons. We didn't have any like true
I suppose you got
evil.
A few, yeah.
Right? We didn't have any true like evil or like wanting to cause pain or hurt. I
suppose you got like because High Tide, Michael Bell, Quick Shadow, Alex Kinston from Doctor Who.
I do. Alex was lovely.
I was good. I was wondering what it was like to meet her.
Alex was cool because I'll remember this. Like I missed a recession, and then so what they do is like they would do a quick catch up, you know.
Yeah.
Where what they would do is like, I missed this week. They'll be like, great. Either before or after the main session the week after, we'll record what you missed.
Yeah.
So I was coming in early to do that. And Alex, if I remember correctly, I don't think she had done voiceover before. So she just wanted to like, they had Ginny and I think Nicole had asked me like, do you mind if Alex watches you from the booth? I'm like, I don't care. Please. Because like, you know, we're used to like performing in front of like hundreds of people on stage. So what's the big difference of like, now it's 4 people instead of 3 in the booth. So she watched me do a session once, just not because she wanted to observe Parvesh Cheena, but just she wanted to see the process and like how they talk to us as the actors and just what to expect. And like for example, we will either read like, and every director, every show is different, but we would read like maybe like a page or even just like half of a page at a time. Literally like 2 lines. Maybe I might have like 1 line, you have a line, I have a line, you have a line, and we might just do that like 2 or 3 times and come back for like, oh, you messed up that word, just do that line again. So she just watched that whole process. And so I remember and I was like, you were on ER.
And she's British as well, just like me.
Yeah, she was on ER. So
I want to interview her now. She seems really nice. I'm like, I want to interview everyone who was in Rescue Bots.
You should, because I just remember she was very kind, and because you know, like when you'd seen someone like, and I loved ER. I watched every episode all the way through to the end. So I liked her character on ER, and it was just very cool. Like it was still that period where I'm like, oh yeah, on people who also are on camera do voiceover, just like people who are voiceover you'll see on camera. So yeah, she was very cool. And then my partner is a big Doctor Who fan, and I haven't really gotten into it. Don't tell anyone I haven't really gotten into Doctor
I
Who.
won't.
Have you? Are you a Doctor Who fan?
A little bit.
A little bit. See, like I'll watch it when he watches it, but I don't like religiously watch it and track it.
Yeah.
And my friend Sasha was on it, and he was like the master or something, and I don't know what that means, but I have to watch it. But eventually,
Support your friend.
Yeah, he's fine. He's on the great.
Yeah.
Do you know Sasha Dewan? He's a Brit.
I don't. I believe not. No.
Google him. He's on little. What's the Prince? What's that cartoon about? Who's Prince William's son? Louis, Eddie, Edward, Georgie, George.
Yeah.
Is that your prince?
Yeah. What's his name? Sorry, is it Sasha D? Found him.
So he's on that that cartoon making fun of the royal family.
Oh yes.
What's it called? The Prince, the Crown.
I think it is called the Prince. Yeah, the
Little Prince.
The Prince. That's it.
Yeah. So he's been doing that.
Yeah. I don't
He's
know.
Great.
I don't know which character it plays. I'm having a look. Yeah. Oh yeah, the show was delayed because of Prince Philip's death. I remember when that happened.
Bless.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
Is it weird having royalty? When I was a kid, I remember Princess Diana.
Doesn't feel any different.
Do you care?
I don't know. I'm just me. I just want to run my own imaginary land with voice actors and have Frank Welker as president. That's all I really want.
Yeah.
I don't do politics. I don't do royalty. I don't do anything office. The office work wise, I just keep myself to myself. I just focus on the more active things that I like voice acting.
I get you. I'm always just curious. I wonder if that's one of those touchy things, like you don't, like how apparently we're not supposed to talk to the French about.
Oh yeah,
I'm
not bothered. Honestly, you can just talk to me about whatever you want.
Yeah, that show is.
I just go with the flow.
Go with it.
Yeah,
I do like that show. It's very funny though, the Prince one.
Oh, I'll have to check it. I think it's on HBO Max. I think.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. Sidebar: have you seen Station 11? I don't think it's come out there yet.
I've heard
it's about to.
I've heard of it.
Good.
Not seen it.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, I loved it.
I don't think we get HBO Max over, do we? I don't know.
I don't know. I was talking to a friend and she said that it's coming. I know Station 11 is coming there though.
Uh-huh.
But it's so good. Hamish Patel is the lead. He was the lead of Yesterday. The Beatles.
I think I've heard
Danny
of
Boyle
that.
film.
Yeah,
it's so good.
I think I've
Amber,
heard
you should watch it. When it comes out,
we'll
watch
definitely watch it.
It was one of our favorite shows over the past year or two with the pandemic. Ted Lasso and Station 11.
If you come to England, you have to go up to Liverpool and go to the Beatles story. It's like a big exhibition of the Beatles. It's huge, honestly.
Oh, I haven't done my Beatles. I'm a big Beatles.
Have you been to England? Have you been to England before?
Yeah, I have relatives in London proper. So they're in Harrow on the Hill, Edgemore. No, Stanmore.
Stanmore, yeah.
I know that they're on the edge. They're on the end of the tube lines.
Stanmore
is here, Edgware is here, and then we've stayed in Shoreditch.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've gone because when you go to visit family in India, when you're of Indian descent and you're in the diaspora, our stopovers from Chicago going to India were always either Amsterdam, because my great uncle lived in actually Den Haag specifically. Yeah. And then when I got older, then we started going we have cousins who live in London and in Derby. So cause that's that how England was such a big step because of colonization from India, Indian nationals would go there. So we stay there now. And especially as an actor, I just want to see shows in the West End every time. I go back and forth from India. So remember the last time, and I'll end with this because I do have to run, my love, and we'll catch up and do another one. But I did see at your National Theater, I saw Rosalie Craig in the Tori Amos musical, A Light Princess, a few years ago. And I believe they're trying to make it into an animation thing too. But Rosalie Craig, I saw her. She's amazing. You know, she's like your Patti LuPone and Sutton Foster and Idina Menzel, you know?
Yeah.
And then Rosalie was on Centaurworld. And so I haven't talked to her directly, but I'll tweet and message at her. I'm like, I saw you on stage in A Light Princess, and now we're on a soundtrack together. Like, it blows my mind. I can't wait to talk about Centaurworld with you too, because like all these Broadway and West End divas and Tony Award winners and Olivier winners are on the show. And then here I am like, hi, I want to sing too.
Oh man, you've made me laugh so much, Parvesh.
Can't help it, because like it's Rosalie Craig and Lea Salonga and Megan Hilty and people I'm like, hi guys.
It's you're in a big clique and it's just, oh, can I come with you?
Amazing.
Right, okay, let's do a quick outro. Okay, right. Please. I'll be as quick as I can. Okay, I'll do a fake outro, then I'll probably say goodbye if that's okay. I can talk fast. I promise you. Okay, there will be a part 2 coming soon. I can promise you. I will try and arrange it with Parvesh and his agent, who's kindly helped me do this. Thank you, Melanie. Yeah. So to you at home, thank you so much for watching. Parvesh, what's your social media? Actually, would you want to leave it to I don't know. What's your social media?
My social media, Amber, is at Parvesh on Twitter and at Parvey, Parvey on Instagram. And I'd say follow me on Instagram. It's a little bit more fun and a little bit more of like the animated content.
Yeah. Right, this fake outro. I promise to leave quick. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. I'll see you around. Parvesh will see you around. We'll see you around. I know I said that 3 times, but I don't care. All right. Bye and
bye.
Cut.